Hello guys, and I'm back with a review of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Now, complete spoiler-free review, so you're welcome. I'm wearing this because I thought that's kind of appropriate considering it's a fairy book. But yeah, just a little bit about this. Again, it's written by Holly Black. She has written the Spiderwick Chronicles, the Modern Fairy Tales, and she's also done the Magisterium series with Cassandra Clare as a collaboration. So those are some of the works that she's done. This is the first book I've ever read from hers, but I do know of the Spiderwick Chronicles because of that movie with Freddie Highmore, you know, remember that one? So The Cruel Prince is set in fairy and modern. It's actually set in our world, the human world, with fairies in it, which was weird because when anything that says prince, I immediately think fantasy world, but no, it's modern day setting, but fairyland as well, so there you go. So this book is a first person perspective and it follows Jude, a 17-year-old human girl who lives in fairy because she was kidnapped at the age of 7 along with her twin sister and her older sister Vivian by this man who killed her parents in front of her and her sisters and whisked them away to fairy to live there. So that's what this book is about. It basically follows Jude's day-to-day life of living in fairy as a human, going to school, because they do have a school there, although it's not like our schools, it's fairy school, where they learn riddles and how to do astronomy and all that stuff, which actually sounds quite interesting. I would like to do it. But yeah, it just basically follows her day-to-day life of life in fairy and dealing with the obnoxious and horrible fairy brats that like to bully her and harass her and her sister all the time, which includes the titular character, the cruel prince, Prince Carden, and his little posse. They all don't like them, so they like to pick on them. And what makes it worse is that you can't really go against the fairy because they're stronger than you, so, you know, you'll end up hurt for it. And especially Prince Carden, he's a prince. You don't hit the prince because you'll die. You know, that's not good. Obviously, this doesn't happen because, you know, the person who kidnapped Jude and her sisters is a high-ranking person in this world. So I won't say who it is for spoilers, but they are a high-ranking person. And they do have, like, they're basically raising the Jude and her sisters up as their own. You'll find out why. But because they're high ranking, nothing can really touch Jude and her sister, so they're safe from that, but they still get bullied constantly, which is fantastic because fairies are great. So yeah, that's what it follows. The book, I feel like, is set into 2 sections. The first section is, like, Jude's day-to-day life in fairy, and then the second section is like where things start evolving, which I suppose happens in every book, but like where this book is set in, like the time period, is when the fairy king is either going to die soon or abdicate because he's very, very old, and he has 6 heirs and 3 of them want the throne. So it's just, well, 2 mainly, but there's 3 contenders up for it, and the second part is just basically like revolving around that and like them getting other support from other fairy areas and kingdoms and, you know, all of that. And it also entails treachery and mystery and other magical subplots, which are great. There's a lot of good subplots in this, so if you like assassin type things and treachery and mysteries and plot twists, you will like this book. This book ends quite well too. I'm really excited for the next one, which I think is coming in 2019. This came out this year, so it is quite fairly new. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. This is really fantastic. It's first person, which I think I mentioned, and I really like Jude's character. I think she's fantastic. She's really headstrong, and she's like, stuff you fairies, like, just because I'm a human, like, why are you so mean to me? I've done nothing to you. And I love that. It's like, yes, go girl. She's great. I don't like her twin sister though, Taryn. I don't like her. I have reasons as to why I don't like her, but one of them is just that she has this reasoning which she thinks if you stop harassing them, if you stop talking back to them, they'll leave you alone, which we know, and Jude knows, it won't happen. They won't forget about you because you're the only two humans here at this fairy school that you shouldn't even be allowed to go to. Like, you're sticking out like a sore thumb. They're gonna be bullying you all the time because you're human. And so she has that sort of mentality. Obviously, that's not the only reason why I don't like her, and if I explain the reason why I don't like her, it'll spoil things. So yeah, I just don't like her. The Cruel Prince, Prince Carden is his name. I like him as a character. I find him very, very interesting. He has a good story. I really want to see what happens next in the second one because of what happens in this one. So I do find him very interesting. There's a lot of other fairy characters which I find interesting as well. Basically, this book is very interesting and nice, and if you really want to look for a good, quick read, because this did not take me long to read, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, I'm saying it as a good way, because it made me want to keep reading. So if you want to get something that's going to hook you and grab your attention and make you read, like, all of it, pick up this. Again, first person, but it isn't a first person where you're constantly with Jude. You're not in her head all the time. It isn't one of those first persons. So it wasn't really like 100% in her head, kind of like the Hunger Games. I feel like with those, you're always with Katniss 24/7. Whereas with this, it's like stuff happens off screen that you don't see at all, and then comes up later because she talks about it. So I thought that was a very interesting way of doing first person. I really liked how it was written. And it has the most pretty map in here, which I thought was wonderful. Like, look at this. I think you can see that. Can you see that? Wop, wop, wop. That is a fantastic map. When I opened it and saw that there was a map, I was like, wow, someone's actually done a map of fairy? Because I'm used to, like, not really seeing maps of, like, fairy world. Traditionally, fairy doesn't have a map because it's fairy. Like, it doesn't have a map. But when you actually see a map of something, it just adds in the whole fantasy aspect. But anyways, the map is really pretty and I really liked it. So yeah, that's my review of it. Listen, I'm not the greatest reviewer. Basically, this is a 4 out of 5 stars because it wasn't... There were things in this that really bugged me. Well, not really bugged me, but there were some things that irked me. Certain characters' relationships with each other annoyed me. And I don't mean, like, just romantic relationships. I mean just other platonic ones that annoyed me. And just plot things that annoyed me a bit. So, it's a 4 out of 5 stars. But it is good. And I highly recommend you should check it out if you've seen it. Or even if you're not familiar with it at all. Check it out. Because, again, it didn't take me long to read it. It was very, very good. It would hook you in. It has mystery, it has treachery, it has all this other subplots in it. Like, there's a lot of subplots that make it interesting and keep it moving forward. I really liked it. Can't wait for the second one. And I think you should all check it out because it's fantastic. Thank you all for watching and I shall see you again soon. Goodbye.